So good day. Um, so I'm Pat Jones. I'm going to talk today about centering prayer. And as we go through this, know that we will have daily prayer time, daily reflection time that can lead to a practice that would go on Monday through Friday and might be of help to you. I've been very, very committed to centering prayer since my days of doing yoga and would follow the breath during yoga practice. And with time, began to spend time with my yoga teacher in centering prayer and meditation. In 2015, I was blessed to be able to join the Living School in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The Living School is conducted through the Center for Action and Contemplation and is 2 years of commitment to study, but also to centering prayer. And in the best scenario, twice a day, that enables you to be centered, be focused, and dig deep into your life and your action in the world. During my time with the Living School, of course, the mentor of the Living School is Richard Rohr. And Richard was a great influence on my centering prayer, but also on my thoughts and my reflections. And so I'm starting off with some work by Richard, and will likely use some of his work throughout our meditation time. Though I've also used Thich Nhat Hanh, I have used John O'Donohue, I've used many writers that enable us to dig deep and touch those sacred spaces and places that bring us to a better understanding of ourselves, our place, our focus, and our need to be active, to take action in the world. So as a start, let me just talk a bit about contemplative prayer. And this is from Richard's book called A Spring Within Us, and it's daily meditations. But on page 43, he speaks about centering prayer. And he says that contemplative prayer can be traced through the desert fathers and mothers, through Pseudo-Dionysius, early Christian and Benedictine monasticism, some early Franciscans like Saint Bonaventure, the unknown author of The Cloud of Unknowing, and the Carmelites, Brother Lawrence of the Resurrection, John of the Cross, and Teresa of Avila. But then this was largely lost everywhere, except by Jean-Pierre de Caussade, who was the one exception who held on to, for us, this idea of contemplative prayer. After there were so many dualistic fights in the 16th century, contemplative prayer was largely forgotten, with almost no teachers really emerging, even in the contemplative orders of priests and nuns and brothers. If you learned it, it was more by the action of the Holy Spirit in your life or on your own, by the study of the sources that were available going back through history. In the 1970s, Trappist monks Basil Pennington, Thomas Keating, and William Menninger reintroduced Christians to contemplation through the simple practice of centering prayer. Centering prayer is one good way to draw us into the silence that surrounds and holds us, but of which we are too often unaware. It helps us sink into the wordless reality of who God is and who we are ourselves. So, how do we approach this? We want to sit comfortably with your eyes closed, breathing naturally, relaxing deeply. Become aware of your love and desire for God in this moment. Choose a word or a phrase that expresses your intention to be open to God's presence. Perhaps this week's Gateway to Silence words, that all may be one, is a good phrase to start off with, even just be one. Hold the words gently without speaking, repeating it slowly in your mind. Whenever you become aware of anything, I call that thoughts bubbling up. When you become aware of these thoughts and feelings and sensations, just return to your word or your words, which symbolize your intention. Gradually, let the word fall away as you slip into silence. Rest in that silence. And when those thoughts bubble up, repeat. Go back into the silence and follow your words. And what we will do at that point is sound the gong. And when we have sounded the gong, we will say the words that draw us in our best way into the silence and into the contemplative prayer. And so we can begin by saying and resting in those words that all may be one. Continuing with your eyes closed. You can do this for as long as you like, or you can set your alarm for 20 minutes, which is kind of a recommended time. And when you have finished this time of silence and rest, you can rise up and bow to your sacred self and the sacred time that has given you focus and guidance. Blessings to you on this time of silence, and blessings to you as we may journey together in contemplative prayer.